Polk County is represented in this parade today? Joan?
It's very impressive. It brings us all together. Right
You're
here
from
in
Lakeland and I'm from Winter Haven, so besides you and I, there are 149,998 other people here today. Here's a fine red Cadillac, a vintage Cadillac here with Chief Rabin, William Bill Hooper, Assistant Trubiel Jones.
This is the Egypt Temple Shrine. The Highlanders. Beautiful bagpipe music.
Can you play the bagpipes?
I like listening. Does that count?
That certainly counts. What do you got there, do you suppose? Well, I see myself, the high priest and prophet Edward Gene Sampson, just past our vantage point in a white Mustang convertible. Now, would you look at these guys? There he is, the man we just told you about. Right there, ladies and gentlemen. These guys have so much fun doing this. I bet if they could, they'd be in a parade every day of the year.
If they could all be as beautiful as this day, I wouldn't blame them.
Speaking of this day, the Winter Haven Chamber of Commerce gave us very nice weather. People are here in their shirt sleeves, not even any necessity to wear a coat. There goes the Egypt Temple guys in their little cars.
The mini cars. They look like fun. I could fit a few of them in my garage.
You're lucky you have a garage.
That's all I have is a garage.
Well, then you're not that lucky, Joe. I hope our cameraman Joe doesn't get run over by these Egypt Temple guys.
He's doing his duty. He's going out into the street and trying to bring the crowd into your living room.
And speaking of the crowd, there's part of it right now. Little lady watching these Egypt Temple guys in their one-cylinder automobiles going round and round and round.
I'm envious. Looks like fun.
Well, this is not Burt Reynolds in this black automobile.
I think Burt just had a birthday today. I think he's 46. Did I
suppose you've been sending him birthday cards all along. Uh-huh. I know where your heart is located. Roger Langston, treasurer. No wonder he's in a fancy car. He's in control of the money. Uh-oh.
Oh, wow, he's got...
Joan, do you know what you call a school for belly dancers?
No, tell me.
A naval academy.
Oh.
And speaking of navals, there's one now.
He's got a diamond in his navel.
I tell you what, you've got great vision. I couldn't see that.
You probably would have had it been a woman. That's how it works.
These gentlemen here are probably not dressed like this every day. What do you think? I'm told that they're actually businessmen, doctors, and lawyers. But by golly, they're dressed up and having fun today.
The Shriners do a lot of good work.
They're driving my old car. I remember it because it had an orange flag on the back when I traded it in, and there it is. They must have picked that up off a used car lot. There's a pretty girl throwing candy.
The Shriners are the hope for tomorrow. And the other car said I was cured at the Shriners Hospital.
These folks are sitting on a bale of hay. Hope they don't get hay fever.
Here come the clowns.
You talking about me again? Talk about crazy cars. That one's on its back wheels. Now it's back on all four. That's a relief. I was getting scared. Egypt Temple Fun and Frolic. That's what it's all about. It's back up on two wheels.
Now that's making me seasick.
I've got the Dramamine in my right pocket. If you need it, I'll give it to you, Joan. Some fine hairdos out there. That guy's traveling incognito. Not only that, he has a disguise on. Here comes the paddy wagon. What's that in the paddy wagon? Can you tell, Joan? Well, that's Patty, I guess, of course. Hey, there's a nose for you.
The nose.
This is my favorite part of the parade. I like to see grown men dressed up like this.
Crowd loves it.
Takes them back to their youth. What is this? More fun and frolic? What kind of horse is that?
One you can ride, I'm sure.
Also one you don't have to clean up after. I wouldn't count on it, though, with these boys.
Oh, we have an organ player inside the, like a tent.
I played the concert organ for a while with the numbers and letters to tell me what to do.
There he is, the organ player. Hello. From the Egypt Temple Shrine in Tampa.
Wonder if he can play Melancholy Baby. Probably not this early in the day.
More motorcyclists with the Egypt Temple Shrine.
I think it speaks very highly, Joan, of these gentlemen to come all the way from Egypt just to be in this parade.
Well, there are 250 of them.
Can you imagine the large boat that they must have had to have traveled on to bring all this equipment with them? More motorcycles coming our way.
In formation.
Well, the Egypt Temple Shrine has all sorts of things in their particular portion of the parade. Motorcycles, motorized units, bands, horses and clowns. Kind of a parade in themselves, so to speak. Well, as we watch the motorcycles go round and round here, our cameraman out on the street, Crazy Joe, gets a good shot of them. Hope they don't run over Crazy Joe. Round and round they go. Where they stop, nobody knows.
I think I'll ride the train, Dan.
Well, you better get ready, because here comes the train, Joan. Hope you're packed and ready to go. There's a crowd shot. Mother and child watching the parade.
All aboard!
E.T. is up there waving at everybody. He's in the back part of the train.
Hope he finds his way home.
There he is, E.T.
Did you cry in the movie E.T.?
I'm trying to remember, Joan. I did get misty-eyed.
I cried when it cost $4 to get in.
Not to mention the $1 popcorn and the $1 Coke, right?
Right.
There's a boy wondering if maybe when he gets older he'll have a motorcycle like that. There's his mother sitting next to him saying, maybe. There's his mother pointing to the TV camera.
And he doesn't believe it.
There's some kids there. Of course, kids love a parade. There's a shot looking down 3rd Street. As we said, 150,000 people in the town of Winter Haven for the parade and festival today. Well, I tell you, Joan, back in 1925, I think it was very interesting. We were giving you some background information about the festival at that time, and the Pathé newsreel covered it for the nation's movie theaters. You were talking about going to the movies there just a moment ago. Back in 1927, the Polk County Orange Festival was renamed the Florida Orange Festival, later to be called the Florida Citrus Exposition, then the Florida Citrus Festival. It acquired a full-time general manager and moved to the huge rectangular area on Lake Silver in the year 1927. And of course, we're located in that general area today from our vantage point. Here comes some good old music, the Cracker Jacker Hillbillies. Also part of the Egypt Temple.
Bring your partner. Yeah.
The Cracker Jacks, and followed by more motorcycles. You know, Joan, I tell you what, they're getting into that Cracker Jack music. Back in 1929, Governor Doyle Carleton unlocked the massive new gateway and exhibit buildings here at the Citrus Festival, and the event was broadcast in 1929 nationally by WDAE Radio of Tampa, Florida. And then in 1930, ex-President Calvin Coolidge attended the Orange Festival. In fact, Joan, every governor of Florida since 1924 has made at least one appearance at the Citrus Festival. What is this guy doing? He's driving very slowly. Apparently does not have the 8-cylinder engine in that automobile.
This is all he could afford.
This man's from Lakeland, from the Lakeland Shrine Club. I hope he didn't have to drive that down Havendale Boulevard to get from Lakeland to Winter Haven. There's a pretty girl.
She's enjoying. More of the Shriners in a circus theme.
Got some more clowns on the circus wagon. Seeing those clowns reminds me of the time I rode that elephant I told you about, the Clyde Beatty Cole-Brothers Circus in Tallahassee, Florida. That was back in 1979. I haven't gotten over that elephant ride since.
Laurel and Hardy, is that Ollie? Hello, Ollie.
Talk about color. All the colors of the rainbow, I bet, are represented in this group we're seeing right now.
It seems like more than 250 Shriners.
Well, I tell you, as long as they've been on camera, they may have had an opportunity to have a few more little Shriners. So we might have close to 300 by the time they get through here today, Joan.
Oh, here's a swordsman. It reminds me of the bit in Raiders of the Lost Ark. I wonder if he's got a diamond in his navel. I can't tell.
Well, if not a diamond in his navel, he has a song in his heart. Our cameraman is right out there amongst them. Perhaps they'll make Crazy Joe an honorary Shriner. He certainly deserves it, don't you think, Joan?
Mixing well.
He is. He's always mixed well.
Check those shoes. Here's a Keystone Cop rendition by the Egypt Temple of Tampa.
Yes, indeedy. I hope you haven't done anything wrong. They're locking them up there on the parade route. They got somebody in there already. Part of their own group, I think.
Well, they'll probably put you in there if you don't smile at the parade. Keep smiling.
The Egypt Temple, Keystone Cops. There's a man dressed in prison garb inside there.
He looks friendly, though.
Thank goodness for that, because there's a man not in prison garb in there. Uh-oh, hey, an escape right here.
All right.
On television, ladies and gentlemen.
He's getting a hand from the crowd. He's a free man.
Uh-oh, the Keystone Cops have recaptured him.
There he goes, back in the slammer. Boom, boom.
Boy, those Keystone Cops are efficient today.
They're right on the job.
Red motorcycles, the motor escort. The leader just blew his whistle to get his guys in formation here. The motor escort from Tampa, Florida, and the crowd watching the boys go by here on their motorcycles. There's a little girl and a little guy. Yes, hello there. The infamous Dan Hogan and Joan.
Spectators watching.
Blue motorcycles. Round and round they go. Uh-oh, scared the crowd there. A little backfiring, scaring the crowd there. But they'll get over it.
They're applauding now. No problem.
Well, as this next unit approaches, let me tell you a little more background about this festival. In 1930, we said, ex-President Calvin Coolidge attended the Orange Festival. Then in 1935, Governor Davy Schultz made history when he appointed the first Citrus Commission, but he did pretty well early that year also. On January 24th, he visited the Citrus Festival back in 1935. Then later in the day, he dedicated beautiful cypress gardens, which had just then been opened by Dick Pope. What unit do we have here? It looks like one from Tampa. The Provost Guard from Tampa, Florida, also of the Egypt Temple Shrine. A lot of gentlemen waving there from the van. You know, Joan, in 1947, when I was a mere baby, the Goodyear blimp arrived for the festivities here and took the Citrus Queen for a ride. Then in 1949, besides Governor Fuller Warren, the only other visitor of note that year was famous dancer Gypsy Rose Lee that I mentioned earlier in the broadcast. The Citrus Hall of Fame was inaugurated in 1962, and by 1983, 85 men had been honored by induction into this elite corps. Got some horses coming up, Joan.
This is again part of the Egypt Temple Shrine from Tampa. the Provost Guard, more motorcyclists.
And then some crazy cars coming up behind those motorcycles. There's those fine horses. And the next thing we'll be seeing, of course, those crazy white cars.
Little teeny weeny cars.
You're watching the 60th Annual Florida Citrus Parade on Centel Cable TV, Channel 8. There goes those boys. Dan Hogan here and co-host Joan Mullaney.
Thanks,
Going
Dan.
crazy high atop the Centel mobile van, watching the parade from our vantage point on Northwest 3rd Street at the corner of Avenue B Northwest in Winter Haven.
We've got a bird's eye view.
Beautiful weather, the sun is shining. Couldn't ask for a better day for a parade.
It's about 72 degrees, Dan.
I would guesstimate that, having been a former weatherman on Tallahassee television. That's what got me that fine job as elephant rider in the circus. They always pick on the weather personality to do those strange jobs, but it was fun.
We're getting a wind now as a weatherman. Where's the wind? It's at my back, so that's...
Appears to be coming from the east, Joan.
Beautiful breeze. I think we're coming to the end of the Egypt Temple Shrine. This is the last contingent in the midget motor cars.
One of the fine automobiles being towed, apparently having had some sort of trouble earlier in the parade. But then again, these boys just clown around. Maybe they're just doing it for fun. Bet they are.
He doesn't have a driver's license, I think, so they're allowed to tow him. Here we go. You can see the towing. And now we've got the Bartow High School Band.
From 11 miles south of Winter Haven on Highway 17. They didn't have to come too far. Their colors, orange and white, nicknamed the Yellow Jackets. Number of band members, 104 from a student enrollment of 856. Director John DeYoung in charge of the Bartow High School Band. The Yellow Jackets. Very colorful in their orange and white uniforms today on Parade Day 1984. Playing one of my favorite songs, and I'm sure one of Joan's. Can you name that tune, Joan?
I'll listen.
As they get closer, it'll come to you, I'm sure.
That's a theme song, and in New York City, it is a hymn. You can be out in a pub or a restaurant, and if New York, New York comes up on the jukebox, people actually stand up. So it's a hymn in New York. Performed for you by the Bartow High School Band.
Aren't those pretty flags there? They certainly are.
Beautiful shot. Congratulations to the film crew. To you, New York.
I'm not Frank Sinatra, Joan. You're going to have to sing it by yourself. New York, New York.
Bravo, bravo.
The Bartow High School Band, ladies and gentlemen, performing New York, New York for your listening pleasure. There's an antique car if I ever saw one. A classic.
And the occupants are appropriately dressed in antique clothing.
Wonder if they have to take those to an antique dry cleaner.
Cindy's Classics has women's apparel in the Winter Haven area, and antique clothing is becoming quite popular. I don't know if you knew that, Dan. Women are reverting back to the old-fashioned ways of dressing.
I know that. This is the same coat I wore 5 years ago. I'm quite familiar with antique clothing. Pretty girls they are from Cindy's Classics, women's apparel, very appropriately driving a classic automobile there.
Well, can you tell me about AM 93?
Solid Gold Radio. I love it. I see their radio station every time I go out to Greenleaf.
They're formerly from Haines City, and they're coming into Haines City area, Winter Haven.
Well, they have a studio in Winter Haven on 1st Street South, and their main studio is in Haines City on Route 544, if memory serves me correctly. Got all the disc jockeys up there from Golden 93, the Golden 93 good guys. There you see our cameraman on the float.
This is Haines City and Winter Haven, WFXI. It's the music you grew up with.
It certainly is.
From the 50s through the 80s.
There's a close-up of the pretty young gal on the Golden 93 float. WFXI, Haines City, Florida, AM 93.
They're moving to Winter Haven.
Everybody remember, Solid Gold Radio, AM 93. That's right, keep in mind that Golden 93 is moving to Winter Haven, coming up in the next run. We're going to be located in the Southwest Complex.
Okay, they'll be coming to the Southwest Complex officially in Winter Haven.
Experimental Aircraft, Chapter 229 from Winter Haven. This is home-built experimental airplane, and it's on a float with a lovely gal in the cockpit named Elaine. Experimental aircraft officers in car towing the float.
I must confess, the first time I've ever seen a plane on 3rd Street here in downtown Winter Haven. I'm glad to say I've been in a plane more than once, one of the few things I've done more than once.
I think this might be the safest way to fly, being pulled by a float.
I think you're right about that. I always like to have something on the ground, whether it's my feet or something I'm in actually touching the ground. Polk County Sheriff coming up here.
And don't let that sight strike terror in your heart. This is a fun day, and these gentlemen are out just cruising along, waving to the crowd, smiling.
The Polk County Sheriff's Department in their traditional green and white automobiles and fine green uniforms as well, flashing the traditional red and blue lights.
And of course, behind them is Sheriff Mims, Louis Mims of Polk County. There is Louis Mims.
There goes the sheriff throwing candy out to the kids. What do we have here? The Explorers Club, it looks like. Also part of the Polk County Sheriff's Department. They're being followed by, exactly, Joan.
No, sorry, Junior Deputy League.
And if you always wondered where deputy sheriffs came from, here you see where they come from. They get them early and train them young.
Waving to our camera people.
A red Cadillac Eldorado, and who is in that? Junior Deputy who?
Well, this is the person who won the essay. They had a contest, and the essay winners were allowed to ride, followed by the canine members and their dogs.
I'm trying to think
These kids are excellent riders, and they're being honored
Here
today.
comes some dogs.
Wow. Handsome animal. We had a German Shepherd once. We named her Magnolia.
Horses, horses everywhere.
This is the posse of 20. You know, like in the movies, we'll send out the posse. Well, here they are. It's a